In this video, I'm going to go over one of the test questions from our midterm exam. This question is one I ended up throwing out for everybody because nobody got it right, and I guess it was a little too subtle. So it's still an important point, so I want to talk about what's happening, and then I've created a sample program that explains what could go wrong, okay? So this is question 5, where I ask you to consider this function where we're trying to insert a node at the head of a single linked list, okay? We have here the function prototype, and then we have the function defined itself. Okay. So all looks like what we've done before. Pretty straightforward. The question A, does a function correctly modify the original list? And to explain that. And then B, rewrite the function so that it works correctly. So I think a lot of you were super confused by this because there were a couple of cases here. Either the case is I'm being really mean and tricky, and I've asked you to correct something that's already correct. And I tend to not do that. Okay. So I think some of you suspected that, but you didn't know what the problem was, so you had to go with it. Okay. So in fact, there is a problem here, and it's a fairly subtle problem. The problem is that we're passing the header here, the node, the head pointer to a node called head. So the head node pointer, we're passing it by value. When you pass the pointer by value, you could change what that pointer points to and you're fine. But what you can't do, you can't change the memory location of the pointer itself. Okay. So in this case, that's exactly what we're trying to do. When we're inserting at the head, we're going to rewrite head. In fact, we rewrite head down here. Okay. So this will work. It'll be fine as far as the as not causing a segmentation fault. But the change that we make to where the head points to will revert back to what it was before as soon as we stop. Okay. So I basically just took away these points that they weren't even possible anymore. So it didn't hurt anyone's grade. Again, because nobody got it right. I also want to show you then to make that a little clearer, hopefully. I've got a test program here. Okay. So what I've done here, I've just put in enough scaffolding around this to make it work. So I've got a node, and this time I'm putting in a constructor, which I sometimes do, sometimes don't. We've got a print list, which we've seen before, just so we can see what we're doing, making sure that it's working. And then here is basically what we had in the program. So this is the insert front by value. We're passing along just the head node pointer, and then a value. Okay. We're setting it up here. That's it. And then I just added a message here that we're inside this function just so we know where we're at. Then we print the list. Okay. Then I've done this again correctly. And this was all you needed to do on this one is to add the ampersand. So I'm passing it by reference, which means changes to the address that head points to are reflected when the function ends. Okay. Otherwise, looks exactly the same way. Creating the new node, doing all that, but this time I'm inside the other function. Okay. And then in main, I'm just going to create head being a null pointer. Okay. I'm then going to print out the original list. Okay, which should have nothing in it. Okay. I'm then going to try inserting with a pass by value. Okay. The one that doesn't work, a 10, print out what we have. And then I'm going to insert correctly with the pass by reference, a 20, and then print out the list again back in main. Okay. So when I run this, okay, we'll see here's our original list is null, which is correct. When trying to insert with the pass by value. So inside of the function, it correctly inserts the 10 that then points to null. But back in main, it just has the null. It did not make that change. Okay. The other version, where we're doing it correctly with a pass by reference, inside the function, it shows the 20 as the new head and then pointing to null, which is correct. But also back in main, this has maintained that. Okay. So that's the problem. So if you have questions about that, we can talk about it in class, but I didn't want to take time to go through all of this in class. Okay. But again, the issue, so what's wrong with this is that we need an ampersand right there. Okay. And that's whatever we insert just would not be inserted. Okay, it's basically what would happen. Okay. So if you have questions, let me know. If not, we will continue on.